Joe Biden's third State of the Union address is going to be tonight. We will see what happens with that. I personally have never really liked the State of the Union. I think it's just whichever party is in control, it's just this huge political chest bumping, right? It's like, oh, here's what we're doing. This is awesome. We are all awesome on our side of things. All my colleagues are going to stand up and clap for me while the other one just stares at me in disdain.
I'm not fucking leaving.
I personally do not like the State of Union address. I think this one's going to be different, though. I think Biden's going to be using it as an hour-long, publicly funded campaign speech. This is essentially what it is. I went through the guest list, kind of looking at who he's inviting, and I wouldn't doubt it for a second that all he's going to be doing is talking about all the amazing things that he has done. Yeah, okay. And then also, based off his guest list, he's going to have people, those groups that he is targeting for his re-election campaign. One of the main groups that he is going to be targeting is pretty much the abortion crowd, right? This is why there was not a red wave in 2022. And I mean, they openly said it after the fact. They're like, hey, you know what? Guess what? Because of this, because of that woman vote, there was not that red wave. That's why we gained a couple seats in the Senate. And that's why the Republicans weren't able to take that commanding lead over in the House. Julia Manchester over at The Hill actually did throw out an article for this back in December of 2022. So essentially right after those midterm elections did happen, quoting Christina Puglisi, the communications director over for the Democrat Party. And here's what she had to say. A huge part of the Democratic message that I think sunk in, that worked so well, also because it was the reality that Americans were facing, is that abortion rights is an economic issue. Unfortunately, this is a huge position by so many women in the United States where as long as they have their abortions, they don't care that the country's burning down. They don't care that there's wars all around the country. That seems a little harsh to say, but it is true, where as long as they get to have that abortion, they're like, hey, cool, inflation, 100%, 200%, don't really care as long as I could have that abortion. Another group that he's really going to be talking to is, of course, those union workers, the union workers like the auto workers and such. We know that these guys are in bed with the Democrat Party. And so he's going to be speaking to them, even though his EV mandates, all these incentives to purchase an electric vehicle, has been horrible for companies like Ford and Chevy. They are losing money. What do you think happens when they lose money and they're trying to completely eliminate the gas-powered engine? These workers are going to lose their jobs. And there are a lot of these auto workers who are seeing that. He also has someone come from a union out in Pittsburgh. All right, well, what do you think? I mean, you could say that they're kind of states that are in play. We know that Trump won both of them back in 2016. Biden took them both back in 2020, but still Biden wants to appease to those people, those union workers. He considers those union workers a large portion of his electorate who are going to be bringing him back into re-election in 2024. Some other guests that he has is obviously some educators, and there's one person who got their student loan forgiveness program happening. You can tell I was not a big fan of that student loan forgiveness. It is ridiculous. The Supreme Court already says that it is not constitutional. And then it's funny because Biden always claims how what an authoritarian or tyrant that Trump is going to be. He straight up went against the Supreme Court in order to forgive these student loans. I know if you're anything like me, that pisses me off, where why should we be paying for all these students who couldn't pay back their student loans to get them forgiven by the federal government? Those are my tax dollars. That is ridiculous that they are getting used in that way. As always, the Democrat Party is going to try and pander to that minority vote, even though by every statistic, we knew that Black Americans did so much better under Donald Trump as compared to a presidency of Joe Biden. We know the two hottest topics, or the two largest categories that people are considering during this 2024 election, is obviously going to be that inflation, because it is insane. I'll go over some numbers here real soon. And then also the border, the amount of illegal immigrants that are flooding into this country. And Biden just kind of doesn't really give a crap. He's actually incentivizing it by flying illegal immigrants into certain cities. Quick story for you. We actually worked with someone who is moving out of Miami, and they have a family member who works in the airport. And they're like, guys, there's thousands of immigrants who are being flown into the Miami airport every single week. And it pisses them off because they are actually of Cuban descent. Their relatives are from Cuba, and they fought their way to become an American citizen. They fought their way here to be able to take on the American dream. And they see all these illegal immigrants who are getting flown in, and it just pisses them off. But let's talk about inflation a little bit. Let me just tell you some numbers. Since Joe Biden did take office, According to the Consumer Price Index, electricity is up 28.6%. Food prices are up 20.8%. The rent of a primary residence is up 19.5%. Motor vehicle insurance is up 20.6%. Those are kind of the major ones that I really did put into play. But annually, Americans are spending $11,400 more than they were under a Trump presidency. Let's talk a little bit about Biden's foreign policy, because it seems like as soon as he took office, wars started popping up everywhere. There's a disaster of an exit out of Afghanistan, and then you have Russia, Ukraine going on. You got Israel and Gaza. You've got the Houthis, who are being supplied and funded by Iran, attacking ships in the Red Sea. This is all happening under Joe Biden, whereas under Trump, we had quite a bit of peace. We had the Abraham Accords going on. He was able to talk to people like Putin, not because they had a friendship, but because Putin respected him. He knew that he better not go in and attack Ukraine. And so with the whole Ukraine thing, there should be a negotiation happening instead of just signing him a blank check. There's no accountability for where the money is going. We have seen so many reports where they're using it for stuff outside of the war against Russia. This stuff needs to be stopping. But will Biden be able to get that message across to these groups that he is targeting, pretty much saying that he is better, that life is better with him as opposed to someone like Trump? I don't think it's going to happen. Personally, though, I am not the voice for all the American people in the United States. We will see what happens with this union address. I just have a feeling it's going to be a huge hour-long campaign slogan. Not looking forward to it. I think, if anything, let's just hope that he doesn't fall down or fall asleep while at the podium. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you do follow along, and until next time, stay free.